Welcome everyone here in Het Huis Utrecht. Also a warm welcome to our online audience who's watching us on our portal, Planet Impact. We're very happy to have you here for the opening of the 2021 IMPAKT Festival Modern Love. We're also very happy that despite the new regulations with regard to COVID, we can still welcome you here physically in Het Huis Utrecht, the main festival venue, and also of course in the other venues of IMPAKT, the IMPAKT Center and het Centraal Museum. And we enjoy the prospect of being together with you here for the upcoming 5 days for the IMPAKT Festival. Having the uncertainties of COVID in mind, we decided to make the IMPAKT Festival 2021 a hybrid festival. A festival that can be enjoyed here in Het Huis Utrecht, but also by online audiences through our portal. The festival 2021 actually started in a bar. The Galaxy Bar in Athens, to be precise, because that's where I met Katerina Gregos for a date, a professional date. I had seen several exhibitions by Katerina that I enjoyed very much. Pavilions at the Venice Biennial, the Manifesta in Genk, and most recently the Riga Biennial. So I treated Katerina to several cocktails. We had a good conversation and decided that an exhibition that Katerina was working on then would be a good starting point for the project that we wanted to do together. Modern Love, and we decided to make Modern Love into a festival. So here we are, 2 years later, one pandemic later. Please welcome Katerina Gregos.
Good evening.
Hi, Katerina.
Good evening, everyone.
And great
indeed,
to have you here.
Galaxy Bar, we should say, is the oldest bar in Athens.
And a recommendation.
And yes, if you happen to go to Athens, it's the one place you have to go to.
Absolutely. So yeah, Modern Love. Maybe you take the audience a bit through the exhibition, where it started. And we have also a clip of you that we're going to watch, but maybe a short introduction to start with.
Sure. So Modern Love is actually also a labor of love, because it's an exhibition that is more than 3 years in the making and has involved a lot of people and a lot of artists who I would like to thank. We actually have 5 artists with us today, which feels like a privilege in the time of COVID. So Hannah Anbert, Laura Cemin, David Haynes, Dries Verhoeven, Jonas Lund and Marijke De Roover are the artists who are in the exhibition. And I actually have to thank David Haynes twice, because I forgot to mention him at IMPAKT. So as you know, the exhibition is basically examining the effects of the internet and digital media on love and social relations, and particularly on very intimate social relations. The exhibition started at the Museum for Neue Kunst in Germany, traveled to Tallinn, to the Tallinn Art Hall, is now in Utrecht at IMPAKT Space and the Centraal Museum, and is happening to come to Athens as well, to the Museum of Contemporary Art, where I'm now director, which gives you another opportunity to visit Galaxy Bar. And in Tallinn, we were lucky because they made a clip, so I don't have to talk too long.
Yeah, let's watch the clip.
Although all of the shows I make revolve mostly around social and political issues, the fact is that they actually stem from very personal issues and things that concern me about the state of the world today. So one of the things I've been, of course, preoccupied by, as have a lot of people, has been the influence of technology, the internet, social media on society today, and particularly on interpersonal relations. And so this exhibition stems from this interest, from this anxiety also that it spurs, and combined with a long-standing idea that I had, which was on the shelf all these years, was to do a show about love, a very unfashionable subject. But of course I didn't want to do a show about romantic love or about generally the idea of love, because it would have been corny or perhaps just too loose. And I thought that it would be a good opportunity in this particular moment in time to look into how the internet and social media have in fact influenced social relations, particularly with those who are nearest and dearest to us, our loved ones. So the show is called Modern Love, or Love in the Age of Cold Intimacies, and it refers to love in a rather broader sense, in the sense that it's not only about romantic love, but it's also about speaking about love with those who are closest to us.
Anything to add?
Yes, actually, I do feel I need to credit Eva Illouz, who is one of our guests, and we're having a conversation tonight. Because tomorrow indeed. Because the subtitle of the show, Love in the Age of Cold Intimacies, is actually borrowed by her book, Cold Intimacies, The Making of Emotional Capitalism. And of course, this book talks about how love has been commodified by capitalism, love and bodies, of course, in general. And quite funnily enough, the idea of cold intimacies, which she speaks about, of course, considering the internet and social media, actually became a reality for the entire planet with, of course, the COVID-19 pandemic.
So we have a great exhibition at the Impact Center for Media Culture, but also at Centraal Museum. One piece I would like to mention, not because it's anything more special than all the other works, but because you can only see it up until upcoming Sunday. And that's Guilty Landscapes #4 by Dries Verhoeven. As all the works by Dries, it's a layered work, you will see, but you might you might need to get in queue. It's a one person at a time installation, and you can see and experience it up until upcoming Sunday. So be there and be in time. Another thing I would like to point out is that we're very happy to do this exhibition in collaboration with the Centraal Museum, because the Centraal Museum also gave a special touch to the exhibition, and for that I would like to invite Bart Rutte.
Thank you for being in the middle of you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bart.
So we had a nice exhibition, but you thought something had to be added.
Well, maybe we have to go back. First we go back to 2004, because that's when I met Katerina for the first time. I was still a very shy archival worker at Montevideo. And Katerina was in that day a very, I think, fierce, internationally oriented curator in the dop, as we would say that in Dutch. And then we met for the first time, and she made a show, Channel Zero, is that correct? About violence.
Yeah.
And here we are, 20 years later. A show about love we can do together. How beautiful is that?
And how timely.
And how timely. So that's what, I know the IMPAKT Festival even longer. I think I kind of visited end of the 90s of last century. I have been in the viewing committees and always been very attracted to the festival. So that also came.
Scouting for Works at Montevideo.
Scouting for Works, exactly.
With your advice. Yeah.
And then now we go back time traveling to, I think, 1.5 years ago, when Arjon and I had a conversation about this project. And you said, well, we actually need a space of approximately, what was it again? 600 square meters or blah, blah, blah. And then we advised and we talked about possibilities in the city. Because museums normally are kind of pre-programmed at least 2 years in advance for every square meter. And I felt a bit sorry that my big love, Katerina, I could not facilitate, my other big love, Arjon, I could not facilitate in these circumstances. However, there is also a good side about COVID, that things get postponed. And in this whole reshuffle of programming, and not at least in reshuffling a small renovation we have to go through as a museum, suddenly there was space. And that happened, if I'm not mistaken, just before summer. That needed to be confirmed in July or something like that. So suddenly there was this opportunity to be in the middle of these two people. And we could pick up the conversation about having a few works landing in the Centraal Museum on the 2nd floor, which is but we recently kind of finished a new program line in which we try to envision guest curators, artists, communities to work with us to help us understand our collection better. So that's what we kind of throw in back, that we said, okay, we're going to bring this modern love to the museum, but give us, the artistic staff, so all the curators of the museum, the opportunity to reflect on the proposal and to add works from our collection. Because what I truly believe is, and Katerina is recently my colleague as a museum person, is that the works we own and the works we try to protect for the future are very much in need for new relationships to build up deeper understanding and deeper meanings of the works we cherish. So, of course, this is a temporary exhibition that kind of lands into the institution. But on the other hand, it is such an opportunity to kind of feed us back with contemporary meaning in objects. Some of them are dating back to the 17th century. And how different you will read a beautiful portrait of, Holy Mary with a small Christ in the context as represented right now. Or how different can you read a surrealist like Moesman in this setting. So thank you both for adding that value to our collection. And it's my biggest pleasure to have you here in Utrecht.
Super.
And ours also.
Thanks, Bart, for your introduction. Thanks a lot. So yeah, it's the Centraal Museum that you need to go to, but also Cemin, and I would like to invite Laura Cemin as our next guest on stage.
Hello, Laura.
Hi, thank you.
So Laura and I met in Sweden several years ago when she was still a student. She's a visual artist and also a performing artist, and she's showing two pieces in the exhibition. One was actually made before, but actually has come to acquire a very, very chilling significance in light of the COVID pandemic. And the other one was made especially for the exhibition. And they both have one thing in common, the idea of warmth. So maybe you'd like to tell us about your work, Laura, in the exhibition.
Thank you. Yes, as Katerina said, I have two works in the exhibition. One is called Persistence of Memory and was commissioned for this show. And it's a video installation where in the video I perform a very weird routine in this empty apartment to warm up the body and kind of cope with these cold intimacies and this loneliness or individualism of our society through these tools and gadgets that you can buy to warm up your body, like sauna suits or sweat belts, tiger balm. And then in the installation, these objects are combined in some kind of collage, because these objects, we use them once and then we just leave them there. So they kind of need to warm each other up. So it's very funny, I would say. I don't know. And the other work is In Between the Warmth. It's a photographic series with some sculptures. Katerina saw this work already when I was a student. And so I asked, it's also performative work, I asked family and friends to hug me for the 10 seconds of the self-timer of the camera, and then I kind of translated this sensation into a material or an object, like wool that is warmer or glass that it's colder. And I made this work in 2017, and then when I was invited to show it again, I actually reshot it right after the first lockdown, when I was able to travel and meet my family again. So it was quite intense, I would say. Yes. And thanks so much for inviting me here in Utrecht.
It's great having you.
Thanks
for
Laura.
the introduction.
And one should say, if you see Laura's videos, don't try that at home.
Yes, please don't.
Thanks, Laura.
Thanks, Laura.
As I already told in the introduction, we kind of made a festival out of an exhibition. And that means especially that here in the house you can see a lot of additional screenings. Some of them have works that were intended to be in the exhibition, like Gabriele Abrantes' works, but there's a lot of additional programming. Talks by people we invited, among other, tomorrow morning was going to start with AA Bronson, famous Canadian artist working from the late 60s up until now. And he's going to be interviewed by Bart Rutten, Centraal Museum, but we'll continue with many more performances, panels. So that's the additional program, and I'm very happy that we're also able to add 2 commissions to this festival. One of them is the work 1-on-1+1 by Jonas Lund. Let's watch a short clip of this piece and then talk a bit with Jonas.
Struggling to meet new people? Then we can help. Introducing 1-on-1+1, an automatic algorithm-based software that pairs you up with your new best friend, lover, or partner in crime. All you have to do is provide your name, social media profiles, and email address. 1-on-1+1 will automatically pair you up with the best match for you, based on publicly available information. And once you find that special someone, 1-on-1+1 invites the both of you to a video chat where you can interact with one another and have an enjoyable first meeting. Not just that, our video meetings are watched over by a range of performance-enhancing algorithms that monitor the meeting and suggest things to say, topics to discuss, and simply nudge the both of you to have a productive and wonderful first encounter. So sign up today to take your social life to the next level. 1-on-1+1.
Please welcome Jonas Lund. Jonas, what can you tell us about this wonderful or creepy dating app that you made?
Yes, hi, thanks for coming and thanks for having me. So I thought we had a meeting like in May, I think, to discuss like different options and stuff. And then I think in the late September, you got the grant approval.
Yeah.
So then I had, and the work had to be done 20th of October. So it's like 3 weeks, and I was super busy with other things. So then I thought, how to make a piece in this short amount of time, what you embody like the person that I kind of is top 3 on my dislikable list, and that is the tech bro from Silicon Valley who makes a dating platform. It sends shivers down your spine. So then what is the worst possible dating platform one can imagine? Like the peak of late stage capitalism, like automation, algorithmic decision making. And I think that's what I made somehow. It's like, so 1-on-1+1, it automatically matches you based on OSINT, like open source intelligence. Basically, it automatically Googles you, makes tons of assumptions on who you are, and pairs you together with someone else. And then you get invited to a video meeting, like a Zoom or like it's running on Jitsi, where you get coached by the +1 automated process to say nice things to each other. And while your emotions and everything you say gets quantified, put into a database to be used later somehow. So I mean, yeah, to make all these questions of online dating late-stage capitalism, surveillance capitalism, automation, automatic decision-making, to like a very sharp point. Like to maybe also, if I embody the tech bro in the making, I feel also like the experience of using it is very confronting in this bodily feeling of what it feels like to be under surveillance, to be coached, to be matched with someone, where you have no say at all. It's only like what traces you left online, basically. So it's somewhere in the middle there. Yeah.
Super, thanks. And people can sign up.
Yes, please sign up. 101 plus one. No, 101.plus. Yeah, sorry.
Did you sign up?
Yes, I did. Yes, and I got a match. Yeah, which was on Friday. It's 5 o'clock. It didn't happen yet, so it's on Friday. Yeah, and the more people sign up, the easier I can demonstrate hashtag growth, and then I can get some VC.
Can I ask something?
Yes.
Yeah, I detect sort of some subtle irony in what you were saying. And I'm just wondering, I mean, is there anything positive about online dating? I mean, I have to say I'm also very skeptical, so...
I have, honestly, very little experience firsthand. I would say, in a way, one could argue, and I was surprised in my research that no such service already exists. Because it's widely established that what you say about yourself and what you say your preferences are is not actually what your preferences are. So then, in a way, like to have a profile maker, automatic profile maker, it would seemingly come closer to the truth of who you really are. And apparently, like what people decide as deal breakers in romantic relationships, it's like if he's a smoker or if she's like whatever type of cult, like Scientologist, it's like a total deal breaker. That for like 85% doesn't matter in the end. You're willing to bend almost anything about you for like the potential for a romantic partner. So then in a way, maybe 101 plus one offers a new exciting way to engage with each other. And come on Friday at 12 o'clock with the talk with me and Melanie, moderated by Annette Decker. And there I will do like a pitch deck, VC capital style. So I think that will be possibly more positive, I would say.
Super, yes. Jonas. And you're also in the panel on Saturday.
Indeed.
Where you also talk about your other work. Thanks a lot for being here with us.
Yeah.
People who are going to the app, please share your success stories with us, because I think we're all very curious how this app is working. And Jonas is not the only artist that we commissioned. As Jonas already announced, Melanie Bonajo is another artist that made a new work for us, but there's also an existing work of her in the exhibition, Night Soil. Maybe Katerina, you tell a little bit about this piece that you selected for your exhibition.
Yes, so there's some works in the show that were actually shown as installations in Tallinn and in Freiburg and are actually being screened here for the cinema context. One of them is actually, in the beginning, Melanie Bonajo's Night Soil, Economy of Love, which will also be on view at the Central Museum after Monday.
Next week, when Dries goes out, Melanie comes in.
Night Soil is actually a trilogy that Melanie has made on 3 different subjects, which look into alternative lifestyles, alternative existences, and alternative practices outside the system of capitalism. One is, for example, on the emancipatory effects of ayahuasca. The other is on, of course, different kinds of land use outside the capitalist industrial system. And the one that we are screening, Night Soil, Economy of Love, is actually providing a different view into sex work. So it shows a movement of Brooklyn-based sex workers who completely reverse the narrative about sex work and look at it both from a feminist perspective, but also a perspective of empowerment, female empowerment, and it will also, I believe, be screened as part of the.
During the festival, you can see it here in our cinema, Studio 3. After the festival, it will go to the Centraal Museum. And Melanie, as already said, made a new work for us. It's called The Dating Show, and we made a little clip of it. So let's have a look.
Let's play.
So this dating show is an online experience that you can see on Friday night, 11. The people you just saw on the screen will be your host. There will be several breakup rooms, and they will take you into this wonderful new queer world of online dating. You can sign up. That's the URL on the monitor and on the screen. And it will happen on Friday night at 11. Thursday night, we'll have another guest, Natalie Dixon, and I would like to welcome you on the stage, Natalie Dixon. You're winning one prize after the other, I think. At the Dutch Design Week you won a prize, that's good. And you were mentioned for the Dutch Film Festival.
Yeah, and alongside my partner, Klaasien van der Zandschulp.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. That's very kind to mention. Yes, the Dutch Design Award for Design Research, and we were nominated for a Gouden Kalf at the Nederlandse Film Festival, which was really great.
And for the project that you're doing at IMPAKT, Signora, you're actually taking us back a bit to the past, to a family history. Maybe you share a little bit about your performance.
Yeah,
tomorrow.
it's so great to hear these stories of kind of surveillance capitalism, algorithmic love, and actually I want to take people back to the 1940s and 50s, where these kind of things happened without algorithms. Actually, the commoditization or commodification of love happened in post-war Europe. And I want to talk about awkward first meetings, arranged marriage, and advertising for a wife. And I will do that through my own family photo album and the story of my Portuguese grandmother's life. So it's a performance lecture, and it happens tomorrow night. And the rest is a mystery, really.
You made us curious, so you all are invited to come tomorrow night. I forgot the time. It's in our booklet.
9:30.
Thanks a lot, Natalie, for being with us.
Thank you.
Our next guest is actually here, I think, every night of the festival, because he has got a special project. It's called the Longing Disco. Please welcome Nick Fox. Hi Nick, it's great to have you here. This Longing Disco has been existing for a while. You've done a few earlier versions. The version at IMPAKT is a bit special because it has, every night we have a Lonely Heart Club's bar where the music that you have gathered for your project will be played, but it's all building up to our Saturday night closing event, the Longing Disco. Please tell us a bit more about it.
That's a lot of questions there, but I'll try.
Start by saying what the Longing Disco is.
I will do. The project itself, Longing Disco Project, aims to collect stories and songs that relate to the emotional spectrum of longing, love and loss, and it also aims to share those. So the stories are collected and then shared in different ways through an archive and also through a live event, a disco event, where people come together and create a kind of community and unite in this shared idea that longing can be a very empowering tool to create fulfillment and joy in our lives.
And what's going to happen here in Utrecht?
So there's a number of things happening. Firstly, I'd like to point out impact.nl/longing, please. Do take part. We'd love to hear your stories and your requests. We'll be doing the live disco on the Saturday for an hour, but you can also take part because in the bar there's going to be an hour-long audio-visual experience every night, every day from 8:30 to 9:30 down there, and also you can join me online and talk to me about the project at the same time every day. Also, please do look at that website because there's some examples of previous entries and submissions. So we'd love you to be part of the experience, and I'm very glad to be here, take part in the project.
A lot of the submissions that are already in the project are mostly sad about people breaking up, or memories, or how many like the positive beginning of wonderful, long-lasting relationship songs. How is the relation between the sad and the good endings?
Well, each song is unique, and each story is unique. So I guess the main thing is that the content itself isn't all about love, or loss for that matter. It's also about friendships and communities and healing and self-love too, in the most powerful way. So what I would like to encourage the audience to do is have a look at some of the submissions, I think, and make up your own mind and submit something.
I have a question also.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things that we were saying when we were having beers, I really miss dancing personally. And of course, it's a mix of songs. Are there any disco songs? Are we allowed to dance, or is this not allowed? Sorry, I have to ask this.
I think it is allowed.
It is allowed?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
because I understand that there are new rules, and I know I'm kind of treading a fine line here, but just out of curiosity.
For me, yes. I mean, I think this is about connecting, coming together and connecting, not just about over the idea, but also to celebrate the power of music, dance, in uniting us, you know, and healing and coming together.
Yeah.
I think that's very important.
We definitely need it, that's for sure.
Well,
thanks, Nick. Looking forward to the Saturday night maybe dancing party.
I hope so.
And we arrived at the... thanks a lot.
Thank you.
We arrived at the end of... at the end of our opening presentation, but not before we introduce the upcoming closing performance of our opening night by Marijke De Roover. Maybe you say a few words on...
Well, actually, I was told I'm not allowed to breathe a word, utter a word, or say absolutely anything about the performance that you're going to see right now, Live, Laugh, Limerence. The only thing I'm allowed to do is to welcome the one and only Marijke De Roover.
During rehearsal, I was wondering what the director was trying to say. From the start, the action revealed the poverty of poetic inspiration. Forgive me, but this might be the definitive proof that theatre is 50 years behind all other arts. The script doesn't even have the merits of an avant-garde play, but it has all the shortcomings.
And God help you if you use voiceover in your work, my friends. God help you. It's flaccid, sloppy writing. Any idiot can write voiceover narration to explain the thoughts of a character. Okay, that's it. 1 hour for lunch.
Focus? Concentration. I'm trying to figure out whether I'm being constructively disoriented or disastrously coherent. Or maybe it's listlessness, laziness, lustless longing. I can never really tell whether I'm actually working or doing something just as important. I can never really tell whether I'm actually working or doing something just as important. The more I worked on this today, the more unhappy I started to feel. It's interesting because I recently made a connection between my habit of not really making anything and the realization that I so seldom let my own interests lead my life. Instead, I focus on the interest of others. I decide to do something because I have an interest, and then I talk about it, and then the attention of others sort of takes over and eclipses the original interest and destroys it. Eventually, I get so exhausted by returning to my historic destructive interest, the attention of other people, that I give up on whatever it was I was doing, and it just feels like a relief. So I've already been trying to figure out why I enjoy what I'm doing here and asking myself if indeed I am, and what I might enjoy doing next. Isolated in an almost empty room, the protagonist, a young woman, stands up. After a pause, she points a finger into space. It's a decision to direct one's gaze onto one particular thing, and therefore not onto anything else. Pointing towards the audience. You sit quietly and stare raptly at the stage.
I need to turn my life around. What do I need to do? I need to fall in love. I need to have a girlfriend. I need to read more, improve myself. What if I learned Russian or something?
All other things lose their charm in the face of love. And love is exactly where I expect to find a kind of sensible hindrance that interests me. I know I can find it if I just surrender to a regime of attentiveness. Tell me, what does it mean to really look at something? Enter Lotte. Her eyes were blue, glacier-like, ice cold with almost no expression when they looked at you. You guessed they knew no warmth and never shared love. Then you remembered, the hottest fires always burn blue. But cold start, tough love. Is this a recurrent theme? Time will tell. She's got a smile that it seems to me reminds me of childhood memories, where everything was as fresh as a bright blue sky.
All right, Tommy, you're the oldest. I'm counting on you. Come on.
She's got eyes of the bluest skies, as if they thought of rain. I hate to look into those eyes and see an ounce of pain. Our first dialogue scene takes place behind a curtain, which is a metaphor, you see, because it refers to what is happening in real time, and that effectively breaks the fourth wall, just as we expect postmodern theatre to do. But yes, Lotte and I hit it off to both being crazy, but in a different way. Lotte is demanding and unstable, while I am insane and delusional. The curtain parts, and that which has never been seen is devoured by the eyes. The scene consecrates the object I'm going to love.
You had me at hello.
Love at first sight is always spoken in the past tense. The scene is perfectly adapted to this temporal phenomenon. Distinct, abrupt, framed. It is already a memory. This scene has all the magnificence of an accident. I cannot believe I was this lucky to meet what matches my desire. A case of lost self-confidence. My writing losing all its sense. My tongue is tied, I haven't slept, and thoughts are racing through my head. Behold, it's clear that I can't think, so let's get out of here and drink. I need you drunk so I can say, let's fall in love and do it my way. Love, 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 love. Come take my hand, show me the way. Love, 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 love. Turned out so right for strangers in the night.
Anybody find me somebody true?
Would I even be if I wasn't hustling to make some person, real or imagined, fall in love with me? Honestly, I would always choose heartbreak over boredom. My impressions of the world are preferably arranged in the shape of a fixation, every experience serving as a cosmic confirmation of shared lives and destinies, just as all roads lead to Rome. About a decade before she killed herself, Sylvia Plath told a love interest, like people too much or not at all. I've got to go down deep, to fall into people, to really know them. The crush replied,
Nobody knows me.
So that was it. The end. All or nothing, darling. I'm either living my best life or crying in a corner. This unbalanced attachment to extremes makes me not only unpredictable in everyday life, but also crazily chasing conquered crushes. The sun comes up, I think about her. The coffee cup, I think about her. I want her so. It's like I'm losing my mind. The morning ends, I think about her. I talk to friends and think about her. And do they know? It's like I'm losing my mind. All afternoon doing every little chore. The thought of her stays bright. Sometimes I stand in the middle of the floor, not going left, not going right. I'm obsessed, thank you very much. Not only do we give corporations our time, but also our physical, mental, and emotional energy. We have sex at the end of the day, when exhaustion is piled up. We're in a rush to get it done quickly, so as to get our 7 or 8 hours of sleep. Capitalism doesn't care that you are drunk on love, horny, euphoric, worried, anguished, desperate, sad, anxious or upset. The production chain can't stop for your feelings, and it suits capitalism that we aren't too happy. Our permanent dissatisfaction makes us more vulnerable. Yes, but obsession is my first language. I've pined insatiably and repeatingly. Crushes are like little threadmills of hope in the abyss. I might be going nowhere, but there is a sensation of forward motion.
Yeah, oh yeah, what condition my condition was in.
I went to a shrink to analyze my dreams. She said it's either lack of sex or exercise that's driving me wild. But I know it's just that I am consumed by thoughts of you. My head filled with memories yet to make. And when I close my eyes, I can feel the fire racing under my skin. I am quite sure this is love. I am so hungry with my love for you. It is the fuel with which I fuck everyone else. And I've been having wild realizations all week that when you're weird is compatible with another person's weird, you both become normal again. And I realized that if I was a character in a play, I'd be the vital and sexually charged, fearlessly free, operatic heroine Carmen. We just have the same taste for vulgar fatality. And then I look into her eyes and I feel all this stuff that is definitely uncalled for and probably makes her feel incredibly uncomfortable. I get emotional, I tend to cry.
Let's do it. Let's do it right now. Let's have a holy moment.
Okay. In the deep connection that we call intimacy, we feel this overflowing engagement with the world. In this we recognize an experience of extending ourselves. Not just as an opening up, but as fusion, emerging with others in a world that is no longer social.
And so much of our experience is intangible. So much of what we perceive cannot be expressed, it's unspeakable. And yet, when we communicate with one another and we feel that we have connected and we think that we're understood, I think we have a feeling of almost spiritual communion, and that feeling might be transient, but I think it's what we live for.
Open your eyes and look at me. No, I don't think I will kiss you, although you need kissing badly. That's what's wrong with you. You should be kissed, and often, and by someone who knows how.
Oh, and I suppose you think you're not the right person.
I might be if the right moment ever came.
I'm in love with you.
Snap out of it!
I can't.
I am too much. I am too much for the unfortunate object of my affection. An avalanche, a tidal wave.
What do you want? My soul or something?
Oh, why not? I deserve that.
Can I just say no to your kind request?
Close your eyes when you stroke her and imagine she initiated this. You want to be touched like you are touched, delicately but with great passion. Remember, you're objectively attractive. You have years left in your prime. So keep your eyes closed and list all of the things you will do the rest of the week. Keep listing more and more and more until her tongue is no longer warm and wet in your mouth. Maybe this kiss isn't the beginning of the end of something that didn't even start. I have withdrawn from all finality. I live according to chance. Flattered in my enterprise, as it happens, I emerge from it neither victor nor vanquished. I am tragic.
I love you, but you don't know what you're talking about.
Alright, then kisses or we're out. Okay.
Evaluate viability. Why is the viable a good thing? Why is it better to last than to burn? tonight my desire is so giant, so true, I'm convinced it exists beyond me. Some cosmic thought must be occurring. She must feel it too.
Hello?
Hi, it's me.
Are you joking?
That would be a bad joke.
Now is not a good time.
After some sobbing and a second sleeping pill, Electra knocks out just before daylight. In the morning, her moral inventory produces the usual mixture of horror, embarrassment, and self-pity. She resolves never to pull this sort of stunt again.
Trust in me when I say.
Is he handsome? He's single. Question. In light of our tremendous gains in the political and professional sphere, why is it that most contemporary films aimed at women still focus almost exclusively on their pursuit of a disgustingly sappy, and you will see, equally shitty, heterosexual romantic relationship?
Love, actually. I quite chaotically decided to wrestle myself, kicking and screaming, through a romantic web of love and goo that are rom-coms. But even with movie characters' flaws and story conflicts, I still feel like hurling my empty bottle at the screen because honestly, whose experience of love and romance is this neat and perfect?
Romantic movies have this reliable, known set of conventions that sort of mythologizes the redemptive qualities of love and the heterosexual couple. And in the last 40 years or so, this ever-prominent girl-woman character created a false division between sexuality and romance.
It's this girly, cute, naive but clumsy woman who acts like a teenager around men. It's this kind of representation that serves to appease the cultural anxiety about sexually empowered women and is used to undermine female agency and authority.
The de-eroticization of women helps to guarantee that the movie appeals to a broad audience. The portrayal of women as active sexual beings tends to occur in R-rated films, which feature plots that turn dark and murderous.
The message seems to be that women who remain innocent and sexually unaware will be rewarded with a man and long-lasting happiness, while women who actively pursue their sexual desires will be punished. You know, for once, I'd like to see the truly cynical, independent woman tamed in a sweaty bed of roses and angst only to succumb to crippling anxiety and end up alone or in a relationship with battery-operated devices.
Did you kill Mr. Boz, Miss Trammell?
I'd have to be pretty stupid to write a book about killing and then kill somebody the way I described it in my book. I'd be announcing myself as the killer. I'm not stupid.
Probably best not to tell anyone about this.
Right. Right, no one. I mean, I'll tell myself sometimes, but don't worry, I won't believe it.
Leave this, how could I leave this? What would I do with my time? Could I wave the pain away, telling you goodbye? Should I wipe my tears away when I just love to cry? Sweetheart, lover, could I recover? Give up the joys I have known. Not to wait for texts again or for you to arrive. Not attend those dinners where 10 cute younger men fight for your hand. How could I survive? Could I leave this and your shelves of the world's best books, and those evenings of furtive looks, cryptic sighs, sullen glass from those shuttered eyes? Leave the quips with a flirt, laughs are sincere, loving duets, singing once a year, trauma heights, hearts unsealed, And this wound's never healed. In this game there's no winning. But wait, I'm just beginning. Leave this. How could I leave this? What would I do with my time? Putting thoughts of you aside in the south of France. Would I think of suicide? Darling, there's a chance. Could I live through the pain on a terrace in Spain? Would it pass? My pass? Could I bury my rage with a girl half your age in the grass? I think I'll pass. But you know this already and still want my love, no. Tell me, how could I leave when you're not letting go? Love, could I leave this? No, the point is, could you leave it? Well, I guess you could leave me to be. Leave the chit-chat, leave out the calls and the gifts and all that. You could leave with a smile for sentiment's sake, and take all the favors and tributes I made, and the hugs and the looks. Darling, you keep the kisses and you keep the books. Honey, I'll take the vision and you keep your limit, and all of your nays are just wait a goddamn minute. Leave this, how could I leave this? Sweetheart, I have to confess. Should I leave this? Yes. Will I leave this? Yes! And then we should say something about how we're interested in unlearning the definitions of love, romance, and binary thinking to reveal a much more complex but exciting wirework of emotional, erotical, and intellectual togetherness.
Because under the romantic ideal of love, we've come to expect that every great romance should also contain within itself, in addition to erotic passion, a robust friendship. But we hold with deep suspicion the opposite. A platonic friendship colored with emotional hues of romantic love is so often killed by the label of plain friendship.
We are just going to be friends, okay?
Great, friends. It's the best thing.
Maybe we shouldn't categorize these kaleidoscopic emotional universes. Perhaps resisting the urge to classify is the only way to do justice to their iridescent richness of sentiment and feeling.
And so the great modern enemy of friendship turned out to be love. The romantic love that is celebrated in every particle of our popular culture. The love that is institutionalized in marriage and tax breaks. We now live in a world in which respect and support for Eros has acquired the hallmarks of a cult.
And you know, love isn't necessarily any more peaceful than revolutionary politics. People say the personal is political a lot, but that doesn't just mean that our personal issues are political negotiations. The personal is political because personhood is political. Who gets to be a person and how?
This is determined by operations of power. And so it is with our sexual desires. We think we just have them, as if centuries of power operations had not determined not only our desiring tendencies, but the very terrain of what gets to be a choice.
As I walk through this wicked world, searching for light in the darkness of insanity, I ask myself, is all hope lost? Is there only pain and hatred and misery? And each time I feel like this inside, there's one thing I want to know. What's so funny about peace, love, and understanding? What's so funny about peace, love, and understanding?
In a a typical Hollywood film, this would be an unusually blunt shot, showing the words that Elettra's singing to highlight the meaning.
Though I usually don't smile that much when wondering if life is filled with only pain, hatred, and misery.
But yes, the gratuitous karaoke scene. I don't mean just regular old karaoke. I mean the weirdly specific moment found in movies in which the protagonists sing in public to help establish their dynamic.
He was a boy, she was a girl. Can I make it any more obvious?
Pop music fuels heteronormativity and love songs are propaganda for compulsory heterosexuality. How would we experience love if pop culture didn't exist?
What came first, the music or the misery? People worry about kids playing with guns or watching violent videos, that some sort of culture of violence will take them over. Nobody worries about kids listening to thousands, literally thousands of songs about heartbreak, rejection, pain, misery, and loss. Did I listen to pop music because I was miserable? Or was I miserable because I listened to pop music?
All by myself. Don't wanna be all by myself anymore.
That pain and rejection, I've got Celine Dion on my side, and she knows exactly how to sing about loneliness. What did people unlucky in love do before the pop song? Did they just get all their talented buddies around who could play Mozart or Bach and made them repeat until Fate Symphony No. 40 whilst lying around feeling sorry for themselves?
Tell me, when will you be mine? Tell me quando, quando, quando we can share a love divine. Please don't make me wait again.
The lover prefers to wait for one more proof that the love story is effectively finished. Of course, if what already happened didn't convince her enough, nothing will ever do.
'Cause mine is not the first heart broken. My eyes are not the first to cry. I'm not the first to know there's just no getting over you. As I wait for one more evidence, I don't have to fully die into desperateness. On of sorrow is fine. Miserable, but hopeful. Tonight, I gave the greatest performance of my life. I never lost control, I played a part so well that not a single soul could tell that I was lying. But love, if you had been behind the curtain when it fell, when all the lights were out and I was all alone, you would have seen this actress crying. Yes, tonight I gave the greatest performance of my life. I never lost control, I played a part so well that not a single soul could tell that I was lying.
You would have seen